Hello everybody and welcome to the midweek market update from Smack the Markets for the 21st of August. So in the peak of summer, we might expect lighter volumes, sleepier markets and lower activity. But with the amount of news that we've had coming through off the schedule and big concerns around US-China trade situation, Brexit has reared its head again this week. And of course, we've also got the FOMC meeting minutes from the last Fed meeting coming out later this evening. And these are all things that are likely to have quite an impact in the markets. On top of that, there is also the fear of European, or certainly Germany, going in or slipping into recession as well going forward. So plenty of concerns there for traders. So let's take a look at a few markets here that we discussed on Monday and a few that we're looking at going into the second half of the week. So if we take a look at the Dow here, first of all, this is the Dow futures contract. You can see the sort of volatility that we've been receiving over the past sort of few sort of trading sessions. And last week, the market sort of had quite a move. It slipped right the way back into 25,200. And then towards the tail end of the week, we got the big rebound that pushed the market back up towards and above 26,100. This was a structure point that we had on our charts, and the market sort of got above there and it held above there over the weekend. Now what we've seen in actual fact last night, we saw a bit of a slip back here, but just back into technical levels of 25,850, which is another number that we've traded around many times here. And we got a bit of a lift off here as well. So my bias is still to the long side on the US indices, but it may not be such a smooth ride with all of the news that we've got coming out. I mean, we've got the Fed FOMC meeting minutes coming out later this evening. That may well sort of have quite an impact, and we've got the more Fed news, of course, towards the end of the week. So I think, looking at this, it's very much intraday opportunities for us. Getting above 26,100, we can possibly see a move up here to 26,250, then 26,350, and then up towards that 26,500. And I think, we're breaking this down and just looking at sort of baby steps and looking at intraday opportunities in between these structure points. On the flip side, if and again, anything can happen with these sort of thin volumes and big news ticket items. If 25,850 gets taken out, then we've got our lines in the sand here of where we think the market may well slip back to 25,600, 25,500, and back into that 25,000 level in a worst case scenario. Now, if we come and take a look at oil on Monday, we were looking for oil to move higher and push up above that sort of 56 level on Monday. The market was back in here. Back in here, so just back into that sort of 55 level. We were looking for 56.50, and the market's now achieved that and sort of filled that trading window. So where now? Well, I still think the technical structures here looking strong for oil. If we can get above 56.50 here, then we're looking for opportunities up here to 58, the $58 level. And that looks sort of like quite nice on multiple time frames here. Even on the sort of daily chart, that sort of looks like a nice sort of trading window. And even up here on the weekly chart, we've got that sort of 60 level up here as sort of quite a key price point. So plenty of sort of room to the long side if the market can get above that sort of 56, sort of 50 area. Now, if we also take a look at Kiwi Dollar, this was a market that we looked at on Monday. We're looking for short opportunities on Kiwi Dollar. We're looking for this market to break this level here on the 4-hour time frame. And you can see what sort of happened. It has broken the market, it broken the level. It's sort of continued to, I'd say, grind down rather than sort of push down. We've been stalking opportunities on this throughout the course of the week. We haven't sort of identified, or we haven't taken any as yet. And that's mainly because of the sort of choppy price action. So we still think that the bias here for Kiwi Dollar is to the short side. We still like it short underneath this sort of price point. But again, we might need to sort of wait until the sort of dollar news is out this week before we can start to see any sort of clean opportunities for this market. So opportunities going forward into the remainder of the week. Well, there's a couple of markets here that we're keeping a close eye on, one being gold. So if we come and have a look at gold, gold over the past sort of few days has slipped back into that 1500 level, and you can see here on the daily chart, sort of looking quite nice, sort of finding support above that level. So the question is really here is, if the market finds support here, what sort of opportunities? Well, we'll certainly be looking for continuations long. If the market breaks 1500, well then of course, you know, our bias is going to change and we won't be looking for sort of long opportunities. But at the moment, with the current sort of price action that we've got here, we've got yesterday's candle being bullish. That's kind of given us a bit of a bracket here on the daily chart. And if we correspond this down to lower time frames, it starts to give us some structure of where we might look for potential opportunities. So if we come down to, and maybe take a look at this on the 60-minute chart, you can see the sort of range here of this rollover here in price. If I sort of mark a couple of levels in here, we can see that just above the high here is a pivot point, and that also is quite a well-tested level of previous support and resistance. This is that daily high. So the market needs to get above the yesterday's high in order for this pivot point and this level to get taken out. And that gives us quite a nice area here for new long opportunities, because it means the market's sort of broken through all of this support and resistance, and also broken through that pivot point too. From the low side, we put a level here underneath yesterday's low. That puts it underneath, again, another level here of previous support and resistance. So again, it's a very, very nice structure here in the market, and we're really sort of looking for opportunities if the market sort of breaks either side of these levels, and looking for a continuation. So our primary bias here on gold is to the long side, because that's the higher time frame trends are looking long, but we'll be looking at those structure points there for those trading opportunities. So currency markets. One other currency market that we're keeping an eye on going into the second half of the week here is euro against the Kiwi. Kiwi is a particularly weak currency at the moment, and has been for some time. Even though the euro is not wonderfully strong at the moment, it is making some headway against the Kiwi here. So we can see on the daily chart that the market has recently pulled back into the moving averages here. It's sort of finding the bid here, finding the buyers back into these sort of price points and starting to move higher again. And if you come down to the sort of mid time frames here, you can see that we've got some fairly decent sort of structure through here, where the market sort of found previous support, previous resistance, and the market's just sort of breaking out of this. Now, as it's breaking out, it's starting to formulate quite a well-defined trend. We've got high highs, high lows. We've got convergence on the indicators as well. And when we come down to the lower time frames here, we can start to see that we've got trend structure starting to form here as well. So quite liking this one here. Now the market's sort of broken this level, broken all these pivot points. Again, we're sort of looking for quality trend formations here on the lower time frames, and looking for opportunities long on the euro against the Aussie. So there's a few markets there that we're keeping a close eye on in the trading room going into the second half of this week. I certainly hope it helps. Look forward to speaking to you next time. Bye for now.